Good morning and welcome to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. Our focus this morning will begin on a local nonprofit organization that provides family strengthening programs to youth and adults. The Center for Self-Sufficiency has been around for the past 20 years, providing programs and services that help build confidence and develop life skills. Dafi Dyer, she serves as the Chief of Staff and Executive Assistant to the President and CEO at the Center for Self-Sufficiency. How are you, Dafi?
I'm doing well.
I thank you much for being here. And as I stated, the Center for Self-Sufficiency has been around for the last 2 decades, doing outstanding work. So if you would tell us a little bit more about your mission and what you do.
So in a nutshell, our mission is to provide our members access to services and resources that allow them or allow elimination of barriers so that they can get to their goal, and we call it the good life, which is subjective. It's, depends on each individual, but
to what it is they consider the good life.
The good life,
yeah.
right.
So I specifically want to look at some of your programs and services today that have clearly made a difference in the lives of people who live right here in our community. So let's start off discussing your healthy relationship and healthy marriage education programming.
So our healthy relationship and healthy marriage education, we have components both for youth. So we'll take it into high schools where we do love notes, and it teaches the foundation of a relationship, how to build a good foundation. We show youth what the risk factors are, what to look for, and it's not just a relationship with a significant other. It's relationships with your parents, relationships with your teachers, with your peers, but what to look for, what to expect with a good relationship and how to build on that.
Okay, and it makes a lot of sense because a lot of times young people specifically have a hard time communicating with their parents because they sometimes don't think that they understand the things they're going through. And then from an adult perspective, it's the same thing. So really, you're giving them the tools they need in order to build better relationships, like you said, with people across the board, right?
And for adults, that even spills over into employment opportunities, how they interact with their employer or with their coworkers, how to deal with certain situations that arise. So
makes a lot of sense to me. And with the youth, you also focus on self-awareness, future direction, and planning. And we know that something that young people always struggle with is peer pressure. No matter if we go back a century to today, peer pressure has always been one of those things that young people have to be able to overcome and really realize that they're their own person. How do you go about teaching those things?
Well, the curriculum that we use gives us really good tools to demonstrate to young people what they need to do in certain situations. So there's different scenarios that may play out, and we might have the youth practicing what are the things when these problems arise, when your friends are pressuring you to do drugs or to do the wrong or get in the car and joyride. What are some of the things that you can do so that you can pull yourself out of that situation and make some good choices?
Yeah, and like I said, that's something young people have struggled with forever, right? The Center for Self-Sufficiency partners with the Milwaukee County Department of Child Support Services as well to provide education on something that we know is extremely important, and that is fatherhood. So talk about why that is so important and how you go about tackling that subject.
Well, because of a lot of our classes are with fathers that are incarcerated, it begins there. And to that point, if they are incarcerated, that means they're not in the home and they're not in their child's life like they should be. So how to get back to those relationships, how to, in some cases, create relationships because they may not have been there early on, and what are some of the tools they need to deal with the mother of their children, and how to, facilitate those relationships so that when they do return and they do re-enter to the community, they have some tools to take with them.
Yeah, because research unfortunately shows that it sometimes turns into a cycle when you have a father that's incarcerated and not able to be there for their child. So it's important to be able to create that reconnect where the child understands what has happened and that that parent is now there and willing and able to make a difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You have quite a few programs and services, many of them by referral, that deal with individuals who have been or who are coming out of incarceration. So let's talk about some of the things that you're able to offer in that department, because education always is important when somebody's coming out and wants to do better and maybe needs a GED to get a job, right? Yeah.
So it depends on the program. But ultimately, our member service coordinators, that's what we call our case managers, they work with the individual while they are incarcerated to come up with their plan. So if there is a need for education, higher education, or even, like you said, a GED or finishing their high school diploma, they get what they need in place so that when they return or re-enter, that they are able to pursue those education goals.
Yeah, and another very important subject, especially in Milwaukee, and it's good news because we've seen the numbers for teen pregnancy go down, especially when we look at the birth rates for girls between the ages of 15 and 17. They're dropping down to like 65%,
They are,
which is good news.
It
So
is.
we have to stay on top of it and continue to see those numbers go down, and the Center for Self-Sufficiency is working hard in dealing with that as well.
Yes, through our teen pregnancy prevention program or education, and we provide that to middle and high school youth.
Okay.
And we had the opportunity to do that this summer with the Twilight Centers, the Summer Stars.
Yeah, and
through MPS.
Sometimes it's a scenario where they say that young people who are living maybe considered economically disadvantaged, they have more of a chance at dealing with early pregnancy. Why do you think that is?
I think that the earlier on that you give them the education, that's what I think it is. If you don't if you don't know and you've not been taught, and maybe your parents didn't know how to address the issues, but I believe that if you catch them early and give them the tools that they need, then that makes the difference. At least they have that to make the decision when they come upon it.
Makes sense as well. You also deal with reducing the risk of STDs and HIV, and I think that there's been this teachable moment, especially when we look at pop culture and entertainment news. Usher. It's been all in the news about this sexually transmitted disease. Are you able to use something that they can totally relate to, a celebrity that they look up to make a point of how serious this is?
Absolutely. And when you're dealing with youth, you have to be able to be flexible. So you have a curriculum, but you have to use examples like that.
When they come up, right? Yeah.
So they resonate with them.
Yeah, and I mean, this is all right now, all rumor dealing with him. I just want to clarify that, but there's lawsuits and all kind of stuff surrounding it. So everybody's been talking about it, and I was just wondering if you do take advantage of those teachable moments and say, okay, you guys see this?
Yes.
He's got money, he's got everything he could ever ask for, but this stuff doesn't discriminate, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's talk about being able to match volunteer mentors with young people who are in need of someone who can set an example or help them out in different ways. You guys provide that as well.
We do, and actually we have a unique process to our mentoring. So we have group mentoring, and we call it the organic group mentoring model, which means that we invite people from the community, and we might do this in the correctional facilities. invite people from the community and kind of have a chopping it up session where they just talk about, there are some guided questions, but just talk about the issues that they're having and real life talk. And what happens as a result of that is that you might have an individual that likes what one of the community members says, and that forms kind of a bond. And it usually, the unique thing is it's not a paper match. So we all know that we have mentors throughout our life, through college, through high school, even in our careers. And young people who are growing up in these neighborhoods, they also have mentors. They just might not be positive mentors.
Yeah, got a point there. Yeah, you really do. You guys have this new program called Project Free. So I'm interested in knowing what's the gist of that.
So Project Free is really about the family. So it's the fatherhood education component, and we have some mentoring in there, group mentoring as well, but helping to reestablish the bond between father and child. And then there's some work even with the mothers of the children too. So it's a whole holistic approach with the family.
Okay, and so if anyone wants information on this new program or anything that we've talked about, they can go to your website.
Yes, they can.
And what's that address?
It's centerinc.org.
Okay, and we'll put it right on the screen for everyone to see. And the Center for Self-Sufficiency recently was awarded a $1.6 million grant, and that's a pretty big deal.
That's
so
a blessing. Yes.
I'm wanting you to let all our viewers at home know what this grant will go towards and how you'll use it to help make a difference right here in our community.
So it's a Department of Health and Human Services grant, and it's called the Minority Youth Violence Prevention Grant. And essentially what it addresses is the integration of public health and community policing to reduce disparities of public health and the reduction of violent crimes in the Milwaukee community.
And this is dealing specifically with high school students?
This is high school students.
Okay. So this is a 4-year grant, and Police Chief Ed Flynn was at your press conference to announce this outstanding grant. And he emphasized at that time that it's imperative for the Milwaukee Police Department to be involved with this to help build that community and police relationship.
Yes, yes. He's actually, the Milwaukee Police Department will be a partner. They will be a part of our group mentoring sessions. You know, in plain clothes, so we don't want to.
So they're not intimidating when they walk through the door. You guys are also partnering through this grant with UW-Madison and community advocates, and the really good news is that students will be eligible for a 4-year scholarship, so that's pretty special.
The end, 75 at-risk 9th graders, because we'll start in 9th grade and follow them through the 12th grade. Will be eligible for the program.
That's good stuff. Well, congratulations on all of the positive things happening and continued success.
Thank you.
Thank you for stopping by. Dafi Dyer is the Chief of Staff and Executive Assistant to the President and CEO at the Center for Self-Sufficiency. For more information on their programs and services, you can again visit their website at centerinc.org or give them a call at 414-270-4679. When we return to Our Issues Milwaukee, we'll continue our focus on organizations that are making a difference in our community. We'll find out more about artists working in education right after this.